Thank you very much, Ginny. We are going to be getting stuck into map number 2 here. We saw a bit of a huddle there now. Team Liquid getting their heads together, seeing if they can come up with a solution for the problem that's facing them right now. That problem being basics. Something that we saw a distinct lack of from both sides on Nighthaven. I'm willing to give both sides a pass because Nighthaven is a new map. Now, you might think that Consulate is a new map, and you would kind of half be right. It's been reworked, so the basics and the fundamentals of the map remain, but a lot of stuff has been changed on it. Now, that has meant that we've seen slightly new ways of approaching things, slightly different things that have come into meta. But overall, I'm expecting Liquid to be a lot more switched on now after that first game, after that first map, should I say. And for Loss, just work off the back of that momentum. They've won their opponent's map pick here, so they are stood in a pretty good stead.
They are. You would expect to see Loss, win their own map pick. And, you look at the bans right off the rip, it's very similar to kind of what we've seen from Nighthaven. I think 3 out of the 4 bans are pretty much the same. Obviously, the Ying ban comes in. It was Dokkaebi the last time. But Liquid still pretty aggressive in terms of going for that Buck ban again. I didn't really think that the Buck would play too much of a thing. Like, Buck bans are weird. Because what does Buck do that Sledge doesn't, or even what Ram doesn't?
It is strange, isn't it? Buck bans usually come with a very distinct target in mind. Obviously, the difference being that you can shoot to open up soft walls instead of having to swing your hammer. It gives you a little bit more freedom. You can do a bit more vertically potentially, but as you mentioned there, with Ram coming in, Ram is the best destructor that we have. It's horrendous. Setting the little robot wars drawn out, and that's it. Job's done. The floor has just disappeared, and you get a couple of other benefits with that. You get a lot of confusion because the sound is just horrendous.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you can often make a play whilst that's going on, use it to get a plan down, use it to make a play. Tons of different things.
Yeah. The only thing you would say is, well then I suppose you take out a soft destructor who can also bring in hard breach gadgets, which would be probably the only thing you would pick up on. But I really don't see that playing a big part. I really don't. And on a map like Consulate, there ain't too much hard breach that you really deal with, apart from really the basement, which naturally, yeah, you would expect to see a fair bit of hard destruction for that. But whenever you're looking at top floor, you open up maybe a single breach, and then maybe the wall that leads into yellow stairs, and that's it. There's not a whole lot else that you really see be prioritized by the attacks in terms of hard breacher, so I don't really know why you go for the Buck ban. Yeah, very puzzling. Maybe it is just because you can go below and do the up-down verticals, all that, but when was the last time you seen a Buck go below and start bucking from below up and actually be successful?
It really isn't something that happens all the time, is it? No. There are a few spots in the game that I can think where it's really handy to do it, and one that comes to mind is on Cafe when you're doing Cocktail.
But this isn't Cafe, so then why would you do it?
This isn't Cafe. And the previous map wasn't Cafe either, so...
He's got an LMG. He's crazy. This meta back.
You were calling Nesk out for taking the spear because it's no good, and now we've
LMG's also no good.
But now we've got Finker LMG, and Lobbin's now the crazy one.
Actually feels as a shotgun's your best bet sometimes. Especially
the way shotguns are at the moment.
Exactly. If you aim in the sight, it will chunk you down from a good distance as well. So certainly options, but I suppose you want to bring in the nades. And also, the heal's actually a really good ability. I actually really like the heal. Being able to stim yourself up and also your teammates, and also be able to revive yourself and revive your teammates at a distance, it's a great little effect to have. And it's just sad that, Finka fallen out of the way because she didn't have nades anymore. We never really got to see those interactions, but with her back now, hopefully we'll see the stims play a bigger part now in a lot of these rounds.
Not sure if Dots knows that somebody is behind that deployable shield or not. He's probably got a good idea, but it is causing him to pay a little bit more attention before just being able to push through and forward and gain more information. That single shield's doing quite a lot of work here. We're actually going to start to see a plant attempted. He has been allowed to cross here. Nesk is still dug in behind that shield and that vendor resets. He's going to find the first onto Dash. Nesk is in a fantastic spot here.
Kill
His
him.
only vulnerability is nades, but there's no nades left. Look at that for a great shot onto Maya. He's almost single-handedly going to stop the push just from this single spot. He's picked up 2. He's got 1 left to find. It's going to be Volps credited. A flawless for Liquid to kick things off here on Consulate.
So easy. So easy for Nesk. And you just wonder, how is it allowed to be so easy? There's nades. There's Flores drones, Ollie. Just did not prioritize that whatsoever. If they'd got rid of that shield, I actually liked what Lost were doing with that attack. See the way they were using the windows in that single breach to pop in the Grims over the top? I think that was a really good way of using the Grim, being able to clear out meat and then move in for the site. But without clearing that shield, Monty doesn't really have any backup. Monty was stalled out by the smoke. Sure, you can just take your time, stall at the smokes, but as long as Nesk is there, there's no one helping that Monty whatsoever in terms of getting that diffuser down. So I don't know why they didn't go for him.
I think the opening pick was onto Flores, so the Rotero drone use was pretty limited. And I don't know where the nades got thrown. Well, they definitely didn't get thrown in Nesk's direction. Plus, he's playing a Wamai anyway, so it might not have even mattered. Great little shield. I think that's and to be fair, if you're watching at home, that's something you can take into your own game.
Just make sure you're a Wamai if you're playing behind that. That's the only thing.
Just make sure you're a Wamai, make sure you've got a shield, and see what happens, because you're probably going to pick up a couple of kills doing that. And if your team are able to play around it a little bit, it's a very difficult place to root out.
And if you ever queue up against Lost, you'll know that'll work all the time. So certainly go for it. Seen quite a fair bit of Twitch today as well, Ollie. I think that's just because we've seen a decent amount of Mira, just to try and counter them as best as they can. And goes the Twitch drone. Will that get the Mira window? No, it looks as if it got shot before it was able to make a dent. So that Mira window still towards Visa will just stop anyone from Lost wanting to move in towards that lobby, which have those double hard breach walls that you can open up straight into sight if you choose to go for it. There's a bit of a blind spot as well you can plant in. But I think we've seen the best success rate is by teams clearing from above, making sure that the defenders cannot play from the vertical. Just keep in mind that everywhere is destructible in that site. Anywhere you try and plant, you will be found out from above. So you really need to try and take control of that top floor before you start thinking about pushing in for that plant. That's what I want to see Lost do now. And Liquid know that. You know, Liquid have brought in operators like the Solus, knowing they can play around that soft destruction. Jump, pop spiral, accompanied by the Dokkaebi call. Lost are straight in. Maya will find that Solus. A great pick to go for. That Dokkaebi call, Ollie, really helping out Lost just with that information game.
It was everything there for Maya to make that pick. Dokkaebi call still ringing out now, as we do see a stim come out as well. Just going to give people a little bit of a boost, but not enough for Lobbin to stay alive. A dreadful challenge from Resets. Again, they're getting turned and burned on. The second time that's happened here today. Parley with a real couple of important engagements. C4 from Lagonis. He's now going to have to transition and get himself upstairs. He is on the pulse, so can obviously gather a bit of info as he goes, but with only Parlu on site, he can't afford to leave him on his own there. There is still a little bit of information kicking around. But Lagonis not really playing with Parlu right now, so leaving him very susceptible. There's one player you can afford to leave on their own. It is going to be Parlu. Very capable of making this happen. Not overextending too much. We can see a plant starting to be baited now. Lagonis has gone from bottom floor and worked his way all the way to top.
Great rotate.
Dots is going to pick off onto Parlu, but this rotate might be enough. It all depends on the plant position, but look at that from Maya. He started the round and he'll end it. Great bit of action on the reverse vertical. Barely got a glimpse of cameraman before he was trained onto him.
Oh, he's not going to be happy whenever he comes back and watches that round. Lagonis, there was nobody upstairs. There was no drones watching you. Loss had no idea the pulse had retaken above the verticals. If he had just waited for that diffuse Q to go in and then killed the diffuser, he would have had that. But just exposed himself too much. Oh, he's not going to be happy whenever he goes back and looks at that one. Still Loss. Be happy enough to take that first round. It was a good roam clear. I think the Dokkaebi calls really helped them certainly an operator that is also pretty prevalent in the current meta, Ollie, whenever you do want to try and play fast, and especially with on a map where there is going to be a good amount of roamers. Dopey, great pickup.
You could argue that pretty much everyone is a roamer on Consulate, just because there's so little that's 100% safe. There's nothing really that you try and anchor into, and if there is, you've got to make it safe. You've got to bring a mirror, you've got to reinforce a wall, you need to bring a shield, or whatever it might be. That's just my feeling of the map. I don't feel like there's like a guaranteed safe haven, like, yeah, you can just sit here and you'll be all right.
Solus above. Big issue, as we know. Even the Pulse, a lot of information being gathered by Liquid early on. They can see where the attackers are looking to stem their attack from, and it will be towards the backside. Still, there are a number of players still towards that front side. Also, no surprise here to see the Ace brought in, open up that breach, give them a little bit more of an impact there. And also the backside will also be opened up. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of teams pushing in towards the back. I don't think it gives you a whole lot. From an attacker perspective, I've seen just the direct sights along with taking vertical be the best success rates. And I think nearly every time I've seen teams try and push the back, it just has not worked for them. And it looks as if they're going to add on to that stat line again. Ollie is already lost one player. And you see that Lobbin is towards that backside, but no one's with him, and he cannot break through those two defenders who are just sat, tucked in deep. Esk finds another. Cameraman off the board. This is looking good for Liquid. Loss. Again, prioritization of that vertical destruction is not being huge diligence that needs to be done.
Oh my goodness. It's GG. At that point, I think if you're dots and you've died that way, you just go, yeah, you know what, go next round. There just really is what it is. Lack of vert, you mentioned there, the backside push isn't always successful. It can be very difficult to pull off. I think you've got to full commit to it. If it's either backside push or vertical and frontside push, you've got to go for the vert. It's so powerful. The hatch in that room is disgusting.
It's the common denominator.
We were fusing that hatch when Consulate first came out because it was just so good to remove utility. Regardless of if they reinforced it or not, just bang a fuse on it and you could destroy ADSs, you were destroying bulletproofs, you get everything. Oh my goodness. Oh, I thought that was
so did I.
Then. You could see the outline in the headshot and I was like, I'd be fuming at that one, but it wasn't meant to be. Dash eventually gets swung there at the bottom of Spiral, and Liquid, they were ready and waiting. A little bit disappointing there. I was looking forward to see a bit more of a utility exchange in and around the breach. Get the wall open, take upstairs, get some vert done, and work with it that way. But, you know, almost a one-by-one approach in that backside. It really wasn't it from Loss.
I would have loved to have seen the Ram make an appearance there for the attacks, just to do that vertical destruction. It's actually pretty easy to rip open that floor as a Ram, because all you have to do is jump in, you know the little closet window in towards Piano? You jump in that window, which is pretty easy to drone, and then you just send the Rams to do their thing. You don't even have to set foot in Piano. You don't have to risk it being destroyed from the vertical. You don't even have to actually take above. You know, you can let the roamers be, but just as long as you open up just a little bit to make the defenders in Garage move back, that's enough. The plants are pretty easy to get down. There's a number of good plant positions you can have as an attacking force in the basement. Pretty default, beside the bomb chassis, beside the pillar. You can move in just straight in for yellow door. You can plant on the very far right side towards the car. A whole number of places you can plant if you need to, but you need to have the vertical destruction first of all to make the defenders move out of the site. That's what you need to do.
Round number 4 approaches them. Liquid are going to be still just in the late round setup of this site, still making a bit of vert and shotgun holes. You have the gridlock appearance this time. I believe it's the first time we're seeing gridlock nades. I know we saw gridlock picked a couple of times by Palu on Nighthaven. But of course, for anyone that hasn't seen the patch notes, just to bring you up to speed, we have lost nades on Iana, hence dots with the smokes. And we have gained nades on both the Finker and the Gridlock. So expect to see a lot more Finker and Gridlock. Now I'm guessing that they've brought those nades because they are going to try and deal with Nesk this time. They haven't got the Monty, but they still need to deal with that shield.
We'll move in now with the Flores drones. Opens up that desk, so no one can play behind that. But like you mentioned, the shield needs to get rooted out. Just send another one down there. Dash. Nothing really stopping you from doing so on the Flores. Up below has the nades. Cameraman also with nades. So try and get a pick if he needs to. Will cover off the flanks as well. So what you want to see. This is much better from Loss. Prioritizing the strong positions. Dash. Get that shield. Still, that shield remains standing, Ollie. I'm starting to worry, because he's no more Flores left.
Yeah, I'm really wondering what that last Flores drone was in aid of, because it didn't seem to do all too much at all.
He opened up a floor angle, but you don't hold flank from that, are you? I don't know.
I think that Nesk in that position is far more valuable. He's left it now, and he's actually going to lose a challenge on those main stairs. And that's one way to deal with the shield, just bait him out of it. Kill's now going to come through. Volt successful on a C4. 4 versus 2 here in favor of Liquid. Cameraman caught out on the proximity sensor there. No real reason for Liquid to move right now. Palu forced into making a challenge. Dots is actually going to be trying to get that plant down. Cameraman is there with the cover. This is allowed to go down. It could only be that Liquid feel comfortable in a retake. Don't forget, they've got a bit of potential for Vert here. Liquid do need to play quite cautiously. Dots has got a great line of sight onto that diffuser. Can already start to harass some of the players from Liquid. They haven't immediately reacted to this. They are running a little bit short on time. Very difficult engagement. Where is the rest of Team Liquid right now? It's 4 versus 2 here. Dots is going to start to come under a little bit more pressure here. An important engagement won by both Palu, but more importantly from resets there. That's maybe a little bit closer than you want it to be, Demo. Only 7 seconds left as that round finished.
Yeah, it felt pretty close. Where it really shouldn't have been. Loss not eliminating that shield. Again, just an absolute head scratcher. It looked as if they were trying to prioritize that desk on top Spiral, so then you can actually push up Spiral without having to worry about, the 100 different peaks that you can have from that desk. But still, once you take Spiral, Nest didn't actually need to move his feet. Because they can't get to Nesk through Spiral without going through Meeting, and they can't get to Meeting without going through Nesk. So both of the positions actually support one another. But then seeing Nesk give himself up, and then they lost the picks. But then you're seeing just Loss fall from all different angles. We've seen somebody try and swing in the single window towards top floor Ollie. What's he doing towards that side of the map is beyond me. It just feels a little bit all over the place for Loss, and I think that's been the issue for them is if plan A doesn't work, they don't really have a plan B. I think their plan A was to try and get a pick with a nade below, use the man advantage, and then you can start pushing the different angles of the map. If you don't get the nade, it's not going to work.
3-1 Liquid right now. Looking to make it 4. Loss really need to show us some conviction here because, as you mentioned, that decision making, it's not been there. I think it was a good attempt from Dots and Cameraman to get the plant down and start to think about holding it there. It just relied on Liquid making a couple of mistakes and they would have come away with a round, which in the game that we've seen between these two teams today isn't an impossibility. There's been plenty of mistakes from both sides. See what the plan is initially here. Now going to be looking to push this backside once again, but
yeah, I don't know about this.
It's got so much information.
Oh, no, no.
Oh, that's gone.
That's a gunner. Unlucky. Oh, he's got a backup. Never mind. I mean, still, I've lost the first engagement once again. I just don't agree with taking really that backside whenever you know that there's going to be a full fight for it. You're going up against mirror windows. Whenever you're looking towards a split bomb site, again, vertical pressure can be applied so heavily. And yes, I know that defenders are then going to play in with the C4s. But, you know, what's to say you just can't kill them as, you know, or bait out the C4s, whatever you need to do. Once again, for Lost, they're coming up against this brick wall as they try and push in towards the back. It just feels as though, Ollie, they're just trying to get in a position where they put the Ossa shield down and plant behind it. They're trying to almost, like, again, make it really easy for themselves, but we know Liquid, they're not going to let those easy plays, you know, fool them. They're going to be ready for them.
Volp's the great rotation there. Looking to pile a little bit more pressure on here. Palu's actually been revived in his location as well. Minute left on the clock. Volp's just going to get tagged up a little bit. Liquid could start to think about backing themselves off this. It's quite a long-range engagement for the tools that they've got. You look at what they're sporting here, they're not necessarily the best defender weapons to be going up at this long ranges, but Reset's going to hit the headshot onto Dash, and we all know what headshots do here. Setting up the Ossa shield. Unlikely to find much, and isn't going to find anything. Resets with the C4. Going to close it out. Again, a very one-dimensional push. That's really not what we're here for. Pretty much every engagement going down in the basement in the same quarter of the map. Strange stuff to see indeed.
Oh, just very flat. It felt like that. They have simply tried to walk in with Ossa shields and plant behind that. But they couldn't even get in a position where they can even attempt to plant. You know, these players who are then kind of pushing by themselves, it feels very similar to Nighthaven, where they're waiting for a player on the other side of the map to get a cheap trick kill. But they're not coming today for Lost One. That playstyle just is not working for them. Just don't know where you put the attackers today. On both sides, the attacks have not been clean. I mean, yes, I see that Lost haven't been playing well, but Liquid still have to get on the attack, and Liquid on the attacks today, Ollie, are a different breed.
Yeah, I mean, neither team have been fantastic on the attacks today. Do appear to have frozen a little bit.
So have I.
Huh? We're back. We are back, ready and rolling. Yeah, Liquid, they haven't been great either. I don't know. It's not like I'm sat here looking forward to see Liquid on the attack, because I just get the feeling we're going to see another 4-2 defender split. It really could be that simple. At least we see the main breach getting open now.
No, it's impact trick, pretty sure. So, again, struggling with impact tricking is always going to be an issue. Need to get the Selmas in there, try and bait them out. There's only one impact trick left. They have the sledge, so you would expect to see them, Ollie, go in with the vertical action, which I want to see them go for. But then again, I see players like Lobin moving towards that single breach again. It leads me to believe they're trying to go for the split take, which I just have not seen work as of yet. The split take, I understand the principle of it, where you try and pinch into the defenders on either end and they just can't stop it. But getting to those positions and setting yourself up is a lot trickier than what it should be. I think that's the breach open now with no impacts left. Lobin uses his Selmas now towards the top floor and maybe looking to clear out any roamers that could be stationed above. From what we see, there was only one towards Copy. It's going to be Nesk. I think they know he's here, and it's a clean sweep from Cameraman. It's a lot better from Lost. This is what we're talking about, Ollie. You go from the top, you move to the mid floor, you use a vertical destruction, you then go for Garage, and you win the round. It's all. You may think I'm a crazy man, which I'm sure a lot of people do think I'm a crazy man, but it works. It really does work.
It is the way to go. And with the speed that we see players and teams now be able to operate in, the time isn't even really an excuse. You've got so many tools that speed you up a little bit here and there. Much better. But again, they've not been able to capitalize on it. Breach has been opened. But there is going to be an active laser gate on it. Reset's looking to try and retake a little bit of ground here. Does need to be quite careful. Immediately is going to turn and pick up Maya. A nice attempt there from Lost at a bit of a pinch, but It wasn't really well timed. Dots got himself in, however, along with Dash. They're maybe going to look at trying to get a plant down now, but a bit of an overpeak there. And it's all of a sudden left Dash in the clutches. 19 seconds left to go. Finds one. Cannot pick the final two. A little bit of overpeaking there from the side of Loss. I think if they just backed up a little bit, yeah, it starts trying to get that plant down under the cover of Dash.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to take Garage, and that's where you want to be. You get that diffuser down. I wouldn't say that's where they lost it. Like, even if they get that plant down, I still wonder, how do they hold that? Because they don't have any vertical destruction above, the diffuser to hold it. And also, they've lost 2 players towards the backside. Because again, his team are so headstrong in trying to go for the split take that once again, does not work. It just doesn't work. I don't know what the obsession is. Even if you get yourself into server, you then have to work your way either through blue, where again you have 2 different doorways looking at you from that perspective, or then you have to walk in towards the long corridor, which is equally as difficult because not only is it a long, difficult corridor, but again there's multiple ways you can get swung from.
At the side switch now, Liquid, they are on the attack. I'm hoping it's going to be much better here from Liquid and that Nighthaven was just a blip. Because they've got a 5-1 split. Let's not see another heavily defender-sided map, please. Or if it is defender-sided, let's it be for the right reasons. Loss. Start off nice and aggressive there. Always a lot of opportunity for some early aggression on Consulate. Picking up Palu. Not a bad operator to remove either. Flores drones, you're going to want some value out of those Roteros. I don't think that poor old Palu got a chance to throw even one there, so decent amount of utility has been lost from those attackers. And of course, a gun. Not one that's firing too well, though, as he's only 1 and 4. Instead, Nesk is going to be one of the players doing a little bit of work here on the Liquid side, but it's kind of overshadowed quite a lot by Resets and Volps. Currently both sitting with 10 kills apiece.
Yeah, 10 and 1. Top of that. See now that Liquid just looking to gain control of that admin side and also open up that main breach as best they can. Yeah, mute jammer possibly on the breach, and yes, that is going to be the case. They have to try and maybe go below and get rid of that, but what a run out. What timing there from Lobin. Takes advantage of Resets having to go below. And now that breach, it looks as if it's going to be remained shut now. Everyone else towards admin, towards Spiral, is where Lagonis will try and push in towards and clear out with that Monty. Cameraman. It's a good deal of damage to Liquid. Takes down Nesk and Volts. The SMG in hand has to run straight through the middle of the site and needs to be smoked off. Back to Lagonis, a one-tap there from Volts, but more smokes go in. Lobin's there with a flank. The pistols from the Monty does not work out. And Lost, they take their first defense.
All off the back of that aggression from Lobin as well. Think about those couple of kills that he was able to get there. You kind of got to feel sorry for Liquid because I don't think that they were, I mean, maybe not feel sorry for them, but I don't think that they were expecting Lost to come out quite so brazen there. Volps, an incredible showing, especially on the SMG. It just wasn't quite enough. 5-2. Lost drag one back. They've already done as well as they did on their attacks. And they've only played 1 round on the defense. Going to be going down to the basement now to see if they can hold on and start to chain a couple of rounds together. Liquid aren't far away from finishing this game on paper, but the side swap is so big. You really can't underestimate that. There's a very real possibility that Lost just pick up 3 rounds here, level things up, and we end up in another overtime game. It really does all depend on Liquid and the way that they approach these attacks moving forward now. Not sure about the Monty pick demo. I think I like it.
I always look at Monty and I think, you've got one or two plans that you want to go for. One, you're struggling with roamers, which is really difficult to judge because they didn't even attack it, beforehand to see if they were struggling with roamers, and they still did struggle with it. Couldn't clear lobbing away. Or two, you are using that Monty as the perfect way of getting an easy plant down. Remember, Monty puts shield in his back. That gives you, a decent amount of cover to try and get a successful diffuser down. I actually like it. I've talked about it before. Teams going for the back, I'm not a fan. But whenever you actually do have the Monty, it's one of the safer ways if you do want to take control of the back. Mostly because, one, it's a big room, so having a shield right up against you means you can face check those corners with ease. And two, defenders are terrified of Monties. We know that. You see a Monty coming towards you and you're by yourself in a big open room, you're out of there. So it does add that fear element to it. But I still need to see the vertical destruction. I still need to see that. But look where Nesk is. I don't think he's going to be doing any of that from a basement level. I don't think so.
Lobbin's out on the prowl here. Ooh, Volps.
Timing.
Siege timing right there. Although he does redeem. Lobbin went for the double dip. I mean, that's siege timing, and then there's actually a misplay.
That's your siege. That's your siege. They swing you back.
Yeah, and Lobbin has misplayed there, but at least Maya is there for the trade. Volps will fall, and with it, the door could be phone calls. There's going to be one that's just finishing now. Maya's actually upstairs above the hatch.
You could pop the hatch and kill him.
He could easily drop down onto Lagonis here. If cameraman gives him the go-ahead, that might be exactly what we see. He's just got the bailiff waiting nice and patiently. And now, what do you do on the shield? Lagonis is stuck. Needs a little bit of support here. Ness came to try and help him out. But look at that team play. Maya, he had a standout game on Nighthaven, and he's doing the same here and now. Cameraman, he's ratting it out with the best of them prone, waiting for either resets or Palu to push. It's going to be resets. Palu trying to make something happen with this DMR, but he gets sat down. He didn't land a single shot then. And Cameraman finishes things off onto resets. He was full white flashed at the time, but it did just dissipate in time for him to finish and collect that final kill. Much better from Loss on this defense. They're showing real great restraint and some fantastic teamwork demo.
I thought it was brilliant. I love that little play. Monty he kind of looked at both of them and said, well, what do I do now? You had to hope that Paulie was able to help you there, but Paulie loses engagement and you're a dead man. And not only are you a dead man, you're the dead man with the diffuser. The other players from Liquid were able to take sight. Doesn't matter. As long as you don't have that diffuser, you can't plant. So for Loss, it was quite easy for them just to leave the site, play close with the shotguns, and win the round. But yeah, you have to highlight that pocket play, just using that teamwork, open the hatch, drop in, clear the Monty. Yeah, great initiative there from Loss. And once again, Ollie, I've got to say it, these split takes, these back takes, just... This isn't better. What an advertisement for me to say I hate those kind of attacks.
They're fraught with danger.
Haven't seen it work yet.
There's so much potential for things to go wrong. And like we saw then in that round, the defender's ability to retake behind you is scary.
There's two hatches at the back. Obviously you have the staircase you can rotate down, but two hatches you have to also watch out for. We've even seen people jump out the Visa window and then in through the breach. We've seen that before. Just too much to deal with. And even I just feel that trying to face check all those different angles and corners and shotguns are rampant in that area. Oh, cameraman, you should have known that was coming. Whenever you see the impact EMPs and Selmas go down, you have to know that the nades are going to be following. That was pretty simple for Liquid. Get the breach open and also get a kill as a benefit to them.
Not a bad start. Liquid haven't been the greatest on that opening engagement so far on the attacks. They've got the breach open, but Lobbin's got a real nice angle onto it. So they are going to need to pivot off that now, which I believe they have done, and start to work a little bit of this vertical. And again, it comes back to that, well, you kind of really need to start from the top floor because, again, there's so much vert and so much potential. A little bit of drone work going in now. Nesk can try and make something happen. I get the feeling that Liquid are playing pretty separated right now. And
yeah, they are.
Well, Nesk, he's just going to walk straight into Lobbin. Lobbin can just reposition himself, and he might even go for a bit of a run out here. You never know.
Wait. the opportune moment. Lagonis does swing. But it will be Resets who wins. Lobin goes down. Solus off the board. Good pick. And if you want to try and get that plant down, always keep in mind of who has that diffuser. It will be Lagonis. Lost now. A little bit scared where they were positioned. Have since then rotated now into site. And can't really play from below, Ollie. They don't have the operators to do so after losing that Solus. They don't have the soft destruction. They have to try and play with guns up. And yeah, they're going pretty aggressive for this. Ollie trying to get the kills back, but Maya could cost you. It's away there. No damage dealt to either side in that skirmish. Resets. He's actually in a good position. Ollie could just walk downstairs and try and explode in towards Visa if he can.
Some of the Dread Mines just getting repurposed now as one activates and one is deactivated just to ensure they're in the right position. Dash. Not in a bad spot here, especially with that shotgun and a pinch that's going to come through
Great
just
pinch.
beautifully. Again, comes down to this team play. Dots going to do a number and remove Palu there, but Lagonis is going to be able to get the plant down, and as you say, there's nothing that's going to stop it. Lagonis might lose his life here in the engagement that follows. He will just do exactly that. Volps, though, has to now try and hold on. Dots is going to get challenged immediately. Volps, you can't peek that again. You need to wait for your teammate to get into position. This is so winnable right now. Volps is 1 HP. Resets and Volps might have just thrown this one. Volps is so scared to take the engagement. He's got to land one shot. All you got to do is stand your ground.
I don't know.
4 rounds in a row.
Who's the culprit there? Out of Resets and Volps, whose fault is that? There's no communication.
I think they're both guilty, Your Honor.
I don't know why Volps is swinging like that whenever he knows that Resets has, you know, a brilliant angle to hold on to it.
They are both guilty.
Oh. I mean, Liquid did everything right there until the end. They were able to see that, hey, they can't really stop us from planting. We eliminated their Solus. In goes the plants with no real issues there. And then just to see them toss it away to one man in such a blink of an eye is incredible. I mean, Volps and Resets are trying their best. I mean, lost.
They were the guilty parties from the last
round. I mean, obviously, but you still have to look at the kill distribution. Got 13, 13, 4, 5, 1.
Palu 1's a bit of a problem.
You look at these stats and you sit here and think, how on earth are Lost even in this game? You know, there's no one there who are playing 9 rounds, only the highest kills is 6. But, boy, oh boy.
A bit of a blunder is an understatement.
Attacks today, just being... Sum it up in one word. Everyone, join in this. How would you sum up the attacks of both teams today after what you've seen? In one word, sum them up for us.
What are you going for?
I've got one too many words in mine. A couple of words we can't broadcast for some people out there as well.
I'd just go with dreadful, I think.
Dreadful.
Yeah. Because they fill me with dread. Every time the round starts, I'm just dreading what the attackers are gonna pull out this time. Deary me.
Oh, Team Yellow on the other side. Blitzfinger and Lion, all notorious rushing operators, Ollie. Combo that in with a bit of flank protection from Gridlock. And a Dokkaebi call. We have got certainly a big old heavy executed strategy. What game plan is, we will get to see. Whenever you have a blitz, the best way that we've seen blitz be played on the top floor anyway has been either in through Spiral or jumping in towards Yellow Stairs and clearing that out. It would appear that they're actually on a hunt. They're looking to clear out Lobin, who has been a bit of a nuisance. Sure, he hasn't got the kills to really back us up in that statement, Ollie, but just that presence of him being here has really caused, Liquid quite a few issues, and the information he's been able to gain also has been second to none. If only he would use his scanner to see that a blitz is just barreling towards him right now. Oh, you're dead. Goodbye, Lobin.
Lobin, Gonna get pushed, but immediately hits him with the headshot. Resets. How have you let that one go? I tell you what, Lobbin, you can have that for me. I love that. You know you're dying to the nade, so all you do is just pre-fire 2 angles, because the way Liquid have been playing, you'd probably pick one up. So it's not a bad 50-50 to go for, really. He's done his job there by taking out resets. Where's the team play, Demo? I mean, I looked at the lineup and I thought to myself, yeah, it's all well and good bringing this, but you need a good amount of team play to make something like this work.
I'll be honest, Ollie, that play right there has nothing to do with team play. That is, that's one of the 7 deadly sins that he's just done. He's just on ADS at such a close proximity. Just hit him with your shield. It's so easy. You won't be able to do that for much longer. Don't forget, we've got a big change coming very soon for Blitz and the way that he's going to be orchestrated as an operator. So still get those millions while you can. I don't know why you just not running at him, flash him, hit him in the head. It's so easy. But he unshields. You unshield at that range. He's a fool, and he deserves to get punished for that, because it just should not be happening if you're playing Blitz. Now they need to try and rush in now without the use of that shield, which I'm sure they would have loved to have had. But look at this. Everyone from Lost is standing firm. The jump-in comes in. They're trying to push in towards Baguette, but Dots on the shotgun is running riot. Lagonis, he was trapped all along, and the Frostman and cameraman catches on to that. You almost got to see the mechanic where obviously Frost now, you can get yourself out of the Frost mats after a bit of time, but cameraman still makes it work for him. Loss has evened it up 5 rounds to 5. Liquid in their attack today, Ollie. What can you say? What can you say?
Neither team has attacked very well today at all. It's difficult because we expect a bit more out of a team like Liquid. I think that's fair to say. But hats off to Lost for that mental fortitude. Going 4 rounds down, a 1-5 split, and then to come out and pick 4 up in a row. You're back in this now. This is your game to win. It's also their map pick. I didn't really mean too much on the attack, but they're at least leveling Liquid's performance so far on this defense, at least if they pick up another round. They'll have bettered it. We'll have to see what round 11 has in store. To be honest, I feel like Lost take the whole thing now, because Liquid just look completely head lost. We've seen a blitz rush round after the tactical timeout. How many times do we say a team is good for a round after a timeout? Usually you take a timeout as a team and you'll pick up the next round, regardless of attack or defense, because the coach gets involved, everyone gets a moment to breathe, and you can come up with a bit more of a clear strategy. You can get over something that happened in a previous round, whatever it might be. A timeout is usually good for a round. Liquid's timeout hasn't been good for a round today in either game.
Need to see something better from Liquid, because this game is slowly moving away from them. I say slowly, it's actually happened pretty fast. Blink and you miss it, all of a sudden Lost are back in it. After a 5-1 half going in favor of Liquid beforehand. Bandit trick works out well for them, and there's a C4 being primed by Lobbin as well. We'll continue on with the bandit tricking, but Dots, you need to be ready to cover Lobbin. There's a player towards the yellow doorway. Could just go for the easy swing, as if the breach will get opened up now. Resets can go ahead and cover off those flanks. Looks to be a much more direct take coming out here from Liquid, and you would expect so whenever you see operators like Glaz come in and plenty of smokes on the side of the defense, and oh my word, Dash, how's he got away with that one? Just punches yellow window, finds Nest lacking. Oh, that's a massive pick for Lost. Down goes Nesk, down goes a good player you'd like to have for those executes. Maya on devolves, the Glaz is gone. You didn't even get to use that operator the way you wanted to. Liquid today, Ollie, just not at the races.
Everyone's dying on their own. Where are the trades? We've barely seen a direct trade where it's usually been a trade that's happened elsewhere on the map, and we just call it a trade. Palu going to pick up his 2nd kill of the match in round 11. But Lobbin, look at him go. He's tearing through everybody. Palu, you've had a quiet game so far, but this could be your time. You've got a minute to work with. You've got a good idea as to where one of them are, but you're going to get peeks from every which way. The default camera's still on you. Here he's got himself into security. You don't need to shoot the C4. You'd killed the man. Dash. He's going to put him out of his misery eventually. Couple of impactless kills there. A couple of exit frags. But Liquid has lost. Catapult themselves to map and series point.
I didn't get to notice it until it was kind of too late, but they didn't even open the breach. They had issues with a bandit trick. They were able to clear away the bandits, so they were able to get, the thermite charge on the left-hand side of the wall, and we heard, the sound of the thermite charge going off, but there was a C4 in the middle of it that was actually able to clip the thermite charge and blow it up. That's where we're at with Liquid. You can't even get the breach open. It's... We came in here today, Ollie, the very first round, we said this is everything for Liquid today. They're a team that are just massive organization, massive team in the history of this game. They need to be at every major they can. They need to be at the next major, yada, yada, yada. They're runners up, that whole spiel. They've came in today against a loss who I would say haven't been great. I mean, certainly map 1 wasn't great for them. I actually think they've looked really good in map 2, in terms of their actual team play. It's really came together for them.
Yeah.
But still, Liquid should be defeating, everyone in this bracket. They should just be walking this the same way we talked about it in the same way with G2. But Liquid, whenever push comes to shove, this always happens to them. They just... Liquid always go for a period, Ollie, where things just go from bad to worse to horrendous. And that's what happened. Runner up at the major, didn't get G8, not even going to the major, not even getting past the first round of the quals for the major.
Certainly not looking good. And you got to wonder what the problem is at this point. Cameraman, done a great job there soaking up a couple of nades and getting the bandit trick off. There have been occasions where he's not been successful at that and he's actually fallen to the nade that comes through, but this time he's done a great job and he's secured that backside. Maybe now it's going to force Liquid into a slightly different approach. Maybe now we're going to see him do a little bit of vert here, instead of just trying to push through that backside of the basement. Bolt's going to enter in, see if he can find himself an engagement. He's boosted up by the Finkerstim at the moment, and Liquid seems to be moving with a bit of a purpose here. He's picked up 2 opening kills. Only now is Cameraman going to trade 1 back. Advantage Liquid for the time being, which doesn't feel like something we've been able to say.
It's been a while since Liquid have been the driving force in the attack, and oh dear, have you lost that one, Nest? Because it's Cameraman, and once again it's flipped on its head. Looks as if the gloves were coming off for Liquid. But Loss have brought their own knuckle dusters to the fight, and Dot cleans it up. Loss move through the bracket. They knock out Liquid. A crushing defeat for Team Liquid, runners up at the last major. And they don't even get a chance to go to the next one.
A woeful performance from Liquid there, but hats off. Hats off to Loss. They've done a fantastic job, not only to come back after that 4-round deficit on Consulate, but a great job at flipping